And welcome to another interactive episode of the Candidate Polls. Remember that this show is brought to you by Info Online with partnership from GIJ headquarters. My name is Augustine Adam Kopiti Saint, and tonight we're sitting with a very fine gentleman who's aspiring for the position of the organizing secretary for the Ghana Institute of Journalism's Students Representative Council. We get to see what he's made up of, what his policies are, and what he intends to do for the SRC after the break. Welcome back. This is still the Candidate Pause here on Info Online. This show is brought to you by Info Online with partnership from GIJ headquarters. Over the coming weeks, this show would bring to the limelight aspiring student leaders from the Ghana Institute of Journalism. Today, my guest is none other than the popular Dawntee. His wit for organizing programs with the Ghana Institute of Journalism Student Representative Council is impeccable. We are going to get to know why he intends to run for the position of the organizing secretary and what he intends to do with the position. Dawntee, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you too.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Now, Dawntee, I've always wondered, is that your name or it's your nickname or it's part of your names?
So allow me to reintroduce myself.
Right.
So my name is Stephen Akpo, and I'm popularly known as Dawntee, which I would say is my nickname. Yes.
Is there any history behind the name Dawntee, or it's just one of those names your friends, hey, Dawntee, and it got stuck?
So Dawntee is a name I got from high school. Yes, so in the boys' dormitory, I was one of those people who'd like wake up always very early.
Right.
So more like an early bird.
That explains the dawn.
Exactly. So by the time the guys will be up, I'm already up. I've already bathed. I'm dressed up, or maybe I'm in class studying at 4 a.m. or something.
Wow.
So it's a very good name. It doesn't have any bad story behind it. Yes.
Right.
So basically, I'm an early bird. So the guys decided to say, "Oh, you are always up, Dawntee. You always they learn Dawntee." So it was like more like pigeon. So
right.
Dawntee, afternoon tea, morning tea. So
Right.
that's Dawntee. That's how come the name came about.
Interesting history. I don't know if I've never had a nickname though, but you've taken us back to SHS. So let's dwell on SHS. How was life in SHS for you like?
So life in SHS, I was chairman for the entertainment committee.
What school?
Akpo Senior High School. Yeah. Okay. I was chairman for entertainment committee, also chief editor for editorial board. So looking at that history, I've always had love for events and anything that has to do with the media as well. So acting as chairman under the entertainment committee, coordination of events, drawing together ideas and doing stuff have been one of the sides I've really worked with. Yes, so I would say if it comes to events, I'm one person that has been around events all my life.
Right.
Yes.
You've said so much about your high school life. Now let's come to the university. You are currently a level 300 student.
Yes, please.
Offering
journalism.
Journalism, right. How has the whole 3-year journey in GIJ been like for you?
So the whole 3-year journey in GIJ has been interesting at a point, but then again, I believe events in GIJ has been some way. It's been a 50-50. So if you talk to a level 300 students, they would say GIJ is stressful, and so sometimes they need the entertainment aspect.
Right.
So me per se, for me, starting in GIJ, I realized there's less of events compared to other universities. Yes. So straight from level 100, that's my journey. Straight from level 100, I met a group of friends who were 200 students by then, and then they were event organizers. So because I love events, I started to move with them, and we started organizing parties on campus. So if you mention Dawntee, for the 300s, 400s, 200s, they would say Dawntee is more of a party person, organizes parties. Yes. And also, after I got to 200, 300, I've had the opportunity to serve as General Secretary for the Great Osajifo Hall. And acting as General Secretary for Osajifo Hall, we've been able to organize quite a number of educational events as well. So I would say my journey in GIJ has been interesting so far. And it hasn't been just one way. It's been the entertainment and the
And the
educational
learning.
aspect as well. And
Right.
GIJ is a very interesting place. Yes.
If you were to describe yourself in a word, what apart from being an early bird, what word would that be?
I would say Dawntee is open-minded.
Right.
Yes. So I think that's if open-minded qualifies as a
A
word.
word.
Yes.
Right.
So Dawntee is open-minded,
Mm.
basically. So I'm open to new ideas. I like to try new stuff. I like to do something someone hasn't. Yes, that's how come last year when I was in 200, I decided to take up the mantle and try to contest for the position. But then sadly, I couldn't go through to. I didn't successfully get through vetting. Yeah, that was I got disqualified. Yes,
Speaking of vetting, you were vetted yesterday
yes, please.
and you made it.
Yes,
Congratulations.
thank you.
How was the experience as vetting like?
It was interesting. I think
Mm.
the EC panel was an interesting board. I believe
By interesting.
interesting by their questions, their line of questioning.
Right.
So I think the EC came in and then their line of questioning was more open. Yes.
Mm.
So they gave that's for me. I'm speaking for myself. They gave candidates the opportunity to express themselves and really sell themselves to the students and tell the students what they can really do. Yeah, so for me, the line of questioning that came from the veteran was a great one, and I would really applaud the EC for doing a great job.
Right. Now, seeing some of the other contestants having to bow out of the race, how was that feeling for you? Like, did it ever cross your mind that, ish, Charlie, they are bowing out? Could I also bow out of the competition? Did that cross your mind?
Huh. It didn't. This time around, I was confident I was going to go through the veteran.
Mm.
Yes, I had
So it was
confidence about that.
you built on the experience you had.
Exactly from last year. But then again, seeing some contestants bow out is it gives me a sad feeling because I've been there
Mm.
before. Yes, as of last year, I was disqualified, so I've been there before. So for me, all I can say is, if they have a dream, if they have something they want to pursue, which is in line with politics, they shouldn't give up. Just like I didn't, they should keep going, and then when they get the opportunity, go for leadership again. But then I would say they should just keep doing what they are doing. Yes,
Right. Now you are in contest with another notable candidate, Nanama Golding.
definitely.
How has that influenced your campaign? Are you do you first of all do you see her as a threat, or do you see her as a top contender when it comes to the organizing position? Because Nanama Golding has actually been around the organizing space for the few moments I've been in GIG. I've seen her around a lot of organizing. Do you see her as one of your top contenders?
Yes, I believe Nanama Golden in the person of Constance Kusi
Mm.
isn't she isn't a contender you should
Play with.
underrate. Yes,
Mm.
you should underrate. Yes, I believe she also has relevant she has some relevant experience around organizing events, and indeed, like you said, she really is notable and she's popular. So definitely she's giving me a contest here, but then I believe I am the best candidate for the job. And then I would say yes, she has been around organizing events around here, but then in my situation, I've really not had the opportunity to serve the freshers. I don't know if I still qualify to say they are freshers, but then I've not had the
Yeah,
opportunity to
yes.
serve the level hundreds. That's in my case. But then I believe she is one person who have really had the opportunity to serve the level hundreds, acting as the chairperson for the current entertainment committee under the current organizing secretary. But me, for one, I haven't really had that opportunity to actually interact with the level 100 student body to show them what I'm also about. Yes.
Right. Now we've spoken so much about you running the race. We'll get to your policies after the break.
Sure.
But if you had to pinpoint one thing that says that this is why I want to run, what would that thing be? One major reason you want to run for this position.
Okay, so one major reason I want to run for this position is that me, for one, I believe I've gathered relevant experience over the years with event organizing. And anyone who understands how events works knows that experience is very necessary. So for one, the layman may not know that for you to have a successful event, planning begins way back before the event. So someone may not know before you do a setup for an event. Setup has to start the morning of the event, even if it's in the evening. So I believe there are little informations that for an event person you have to have like much experience for you to be able to execute them. Yes. So I believe for one, I'm one person that have gathered enough experience to handle this office because I've had the opportunity to work under past organizing secretaries and even other executive officers. So I believe when it comes to organizing the students, organizing programs, organizing meetings, events for the people, I have I have understood it very well over the years.
Right. Now let's talk about CISA. You were part of the organizers of CISA.
Yes, please.
How first of all, how was the whole organization process for CISA like?
Yeah, so
Run
for
us through, yes, and proper organization of a program.
sure. So to begin with, CZEP was organized by Origami Jeans, and that group of organizers is made up of level 200 students, 300s, 400s. So it's just a team of organizers from all levels on GIG campus. We came together and we decided to give the students a different experience. So unlike the regular parties, this was actually a party that we organized to help the students blow off steam. So CZEP comes in whenever we feel the academic stress is too much, the students need an escape route to unwind, then we bring in CZEP. So we are very strategic with how we place our events. So we place them at points whereby we feel the students are having too much stress to deal with, too much academic work. So now down to how CZEP was organized. So starting off, we secured a location called the Woods in Osu, and then we decided we would give the students body something different. So we started off by creating WhatsApp platforms to mobilize the students, get them there, sell our idea to them, tell them this is what we are about, this is what we want to do, and we want you to just come have fun and blow off steam because we know the semester has been stressful.
Yeah.
Yes, and then also we sold our ideas to them. We sent out flyers to people. We did the most important part of every event, which is promotion. We went out to the student body, went to their hostels, came on campus, had one-on-one interactions with students, asked them what they want to experience. So some students, for one, said, "Oh, since they came, they've had a ball. I don't know if you remember that, but then the SRC organized a ball, but then they feel it's not enough entertainment. So then we came to the rescue and we felt like if it's not enough, then we are here for you. So we came to the students, spoke to them, asked them what they want to experience, and then we added other features that made the experience more fun. Yes. So we didn't do it as a regular party, but then it had more experiences that made it more fun. We had glow lights and all of that. Like all the other features to make a party look exceptional. We did all of that to give them a very great experience.
Now you said something about promotion as an important part of
Yes.
organizing an event. Now, would you say that the organization of GIJ's SRC programs has not seen much promotion?
Okay, so I think I said this during yesterday's vetting. One thing I noticed when I came to level 100 was we had, under the then organizing secretary, we had events whereby people, members of the entertainment committee, came out to students, speak to them, move from hostel to hostel, preach the word to students, and didn't rely just on the online platforms and just sharing flyers. They actually moved to students, told them what the event is going to be about. They got the interest of the students through conversation, through one-on-one conversations. And over the years, since last 2 years and this year, that's something I've realized has been done less. So the current entertainment or organizing and planning committee, I've realized, don't really move to the students to speak to them. I believe they've just been relying on the online style of just sharing flyers. So I believe if, as organizers, we come down to the level of the people and also ask them what they want to experience, and we make them understand that we'll give you the experience you want. What we need is that you come through, and we do that for them. We would have the interest of the students.
Right.
We wouldn't have to struggle too much to promote if we give them the experiences they desire, the experiences they want. I believe students will pull out for our programs here.
Right. This has been the candidate post, and my guest has been speaking so much about the experiences he has gathered over the period and his reason for running for the position of the SRC organizing secretary. After this break, we get to see his policies and what he intends to do with the position. You're welcome back. This is still the candidate post. Remember that this show is brought to you by Info Online with partnership from GIJ headquarters. And my guest, Stephen Akpo, has been speaking so much about his intention to run. Now we're going to speak about his policies. Now, Dawntee. I don't know why I like the name Dawntee. But what are your policies you intend to implement when you are hopefully voted into office? Yeah.
Yes, so these policies I call the 5 points.
Yes. First of all, have you released your policies? Oh yeah.
Yes, is my policies are out, but it's yet to be officially released to the students for them to go through them.
Right.
Yes. So these policies are called the 5 dons, and into bracket they are the students' policy. So in creating these policies, I went down to the students' level, listened to their plights, listened to their problems, listened to what the students want from events, and the kind of experiences they want when it comes to programs and events in GIJ. And then I drafted these policies based on that.
Okay.
So starting off, my first policy I call diverse event experiences. So I believe in as much as we are in a communication school, we have people who have interest in other stuff. People are not only interested in journalism, PR, and marketing. Also, people here, some of them may have side talents or side disciplines they want to venture into. So this policy here says we'll give the students different kinds of events. So it wouldn't just be entertainment, it wouldn't just be education. So down in my policy, I had cultural showcases in there. Yes. So cultural showcases in the sense that not like just the Creative Cave. We have Creative Cave, which is a cultural show. But then I believe Creative Cave is one that we do cultural display. But then with the cultural showcases I'm talking about, we have events whereby student artists who carve, student artists who paint, who make bags, who do anything that is art and cultural. We have a fair whereby they come and showcase their talents. We have a fair whereby people can even buy from them. So they make revenue for their art and they become recognized with their art. And also we are talking about media workshops whereby students will not just come here and have the classroom knowledge, but then we actually want to give them that practical workshop whereby we have notable media personnel like Umar Sanda and other media people come through and come to campus, and we craft beautiful events whereby they come teach the students, interact with them, teach them what to expect on the job market, and at the end of that we crown it with a certificate for our students. Because compared to other schools like Ashesi and the rest, their students graduate with a degree, and not just a degree, they have other certificates to back it for other things they've actually studied on campus. Yes. Right. So I believe if we add that, would just make the weight of our students heavier, and they will stand a better chance out on the job market as well. Right. Secondly, this policy, I would say, is one of my flagship policies. That is establishing a sponsorship subcommittee. So I believe every organizing secretary, when you come into power, you are not expected to deliver your duties alone. You are at the liberty to create an organizing and planning committee or an entertainment committee. And straight from SHS, we've had that, whereby whoever is the entertainment prefect has an entertainment committee that he works with to make events successful. So I believe if we create a sponsorship subcommittee, it will ease the student the pressure on the students first. Sorry. So we are trying to look at having events whereby we don't always have to dip our hands into the students first to fund our events. We are looking at having an atmosphere whereby when we stand up to make an event, we can have sponsors that bring in money, products, and also media support. They'll bring that in to help us make our events successful. So comparing a school like the University of Ghana to GIJ, when it comes to events, this is a practical exercise. If you take a flyer of a GIJ event compared to a flyer of a University of Ghana event, you'd realize that beneath them we have lots of sponsors for the University of Ghana events, and we have less sponsors for GIJ. I believe if we have a committee set out who have their sole duty is to go out there and bring us money and products from brands to push our events, we'll have better events and we'll have enough funds to even take care of other problems of the students. So we have students who owe just 100 or 200 cedis before they are able to register, but they are not able to fund themselves and then actually go ahead to register. We have challenges that are very minute that I believe if the SRC monies are kept well and used wisely, we can actually fend for some of the problems of the students.
Is that to say that the current usage of the SRC money is not used wisely?
I wouldn't say that, but the money used by the SRC now, comparing GIJ to other schools, since we have a lesser number, is less. So I would say, though the money is less, the demand, the money can't actually match the demand. You get me? So I am saying, if I'm giving the mantle to be the organizing secretary, I would make sure that every event wouldn't have to be from the students first, just so we have enough to handle other issues. So when we have sponsors like MTN, Vodafone, Flora Tissues, all the notable brands coming in and bringing us money, we would spend less from the students first to actually execute programs. So I'm not saying the current administration isn't using the money well, but then because we lack sponsorships, they have no choice than to dip their hands into the students first and take enough that will suit the events they intend to give us. Yes.
So now we're speaking about two of your policies.
Exactly.
Let's move on to the next ones.
Yes. So for my next policy, this I call sustainable initiatives. So we are looking at this policy is actually focused on halls and societies and clubs in GIJ. So halls like Osajifo Mandela, Sutherland, and Mandela Hall, and Yasantwa Hall. Thank you. And also societies like Writers and Debaters Society and other clubs on campus. We are looking at how to sustain these halls, clubs, and societies. So I'm introducing a policy called One Meeting, One Activity by the halls. And the goal of this is to make sure the halls are vibrant. So we want every hall to at least perform one meeting and one activity in every semester. So we make sure that so another way we make sure we keep this hall sustained is by involving them in SRC activities as well. So we make sure that if we are to organize something like a health walk, we have Osajifo Hall bring their boys in. You know, the boys are known to have morale. Yes, they have the energy, the morale. So we have these boys come and help us mobilize the people and execute activities like the SRC health walk that we always used to crown the SRC week. And also looking at a society like the Writers and Debaters Society, we can have this society sit and carefully create a debate, educational debates on campus. So this whole policy is just to make sure that these halls, clubs, and societies are actively doing something to keep the students active, so that the students will feel they belong to a hall, they belong to a society. Because over the years, we've seen that the halls have been less active. A few are very active on campus, and even with that, we wouldn't say to full capacity.
Right.
But then we are looking at making sure these halls, clubs, and societies become very active with their activities on campus, yes, so that they'll be seen more, and the students will feel they really do belong to a hall.
Interesting. I mean, it's. I think yesterday we were having a conversation about this whole hall thing, and then someone mentioned something about a hall, that in GIJ the halls are not really vibrant.
Very true.
Because Legon organizes Pent Hall, and then even if you are not in Legon, you want to attend the program.
Yes.
So that is the kind of picture I want to paint. That even if you are not in Mandela Hall and not even in GIJ, you can
Yes.
attend such programs.
Yes.
Right.
And moving on to my next policy, right? The fourth policy is inclusivity and accessibility for all. So talking about inclusivity, we are looking at making sure the organizing secretary office is making sure all the students are included in our decisions. They're included in our events. They're included in our activities. And also making sure that these events, decisions, and open forums are accessible to students from every walk of life, be it a regular student, a weekend student, an evening student. So first off, we are looking at relevant students and student organizations. So what we intend to do is that before we have activities, we know we have students who are in the working world. We have students who come to school, but they are actually working with event groups like Event Factory. I have one friend called Ken Shasha. He actually owns a logistic company who is a student on campus.
Wow.
So I believe if we make it inclusive, very inclusive for all, and we open a welcoming arm and we invite all these student experts, these students who are actually into events in the outside world, and we ask for their ideas to design our programs. We ask for their help. We ask for leverage on who they know and what they can do to execute our events. We believe we would have more successful events, because we wouldn't want to go give a contract to an outsider while in our school we have a logistics owner in our school who can actually do that job. And also about inclusivity and accessibility for all, we are looking at giving students from the regular and weekends school equal headcount on my committee. So if I set up an organizing and planning committee, I'll make sure as much regular students that are on my committee will have that much number of weekend students on the committee. Just so when it comes to the design of our events, we would have it from all angles. So a weekend student would tell you an event on a Monday would not be suitable for them because they are more of the working class and they'll have to be at work. So bringing ideas from all angles, I believe we'll be able to create our events in a way that will fit all students, and we'll have both weekend regular students come and enjoy the events, and also make the most out of their SRC dues. Exactly. So lastly, my last policy is agenda own our equipment. So this is us looking at sound systems and cameras. So in GIJ, we always rent sound systems for every event. Yes. And then looking at statistics, in every semester or in every academic year, we have the Aquaba week, we have the SRC week, and in the SRC week we have seminars in there. We have health work, which we also use a sound system. We have seminars, we use sound system for that. We have artist nights, which we use sound system for. If it's Miss Communicator, we use sound systems. If it comes to Mr. and Mrs. Akwaba, we use sound system. If it comes to even any normal seminar being organized by a hall, a club, or a society, we still use sound systems. So I believe sound system rental should be a thing behind us. We shouldn't really have to always rent sound systems, because if you calculate, and the average cost of renting a sound system is between 1,000 to 1,500 cedis. So if in a year we have close to 10 events whereby we have to rent sound system,
like
you can
10,000.
calculate how much we are using. You
Right.
get me? And so I believe if we own our own equipment, which is this sound system and cameras, because no doubt photography is expensive today. Photography is very expensive. So you have no idea how much we pump into getting a whole media team to come down here to get photographs and capture memories of our events. So if we have our own cameras and we have interested students who are interested in actually photography, videography, interested in broadcasting, and we give them this opportunity to even learn more and actually use our cameras and our own equipment to do this stuff, I believe we'll be cutting down on costs and also educating our students to venture into new angles. Yes.
Right.
So I believe us owning our own equipment will be a long way to go to cut down how much we spend. Yes.
Particularly on this policy, how do you intend to gather resources? Because,
Exactly.
like you said, photography is expensive, meaning that the equipment are equally expensive.
Very expensive. Yes.
How do you intend to mobilize resources?
Yes. So I think with your question, we are talking about funding here.
Right.
So about funding, again, we jump to my second policy, which talks about sponsorships. I believe if we have enough money coming in for our events, we can get sponsors to even help handle our sound system and cameras. So when it comes to the funding, we are looking at getting sponsors to give us enough money, to camp enough money, so that we can buy our own sound system and get our own cameras as well. And also, we are looking at using money from the students' purse as well. I believe if a sponsor is to offer an amount that is more than half of what we need to buy a sound system, it wouldn't hurt for us to dip our hand into the students' purse and take maybe that 30% left or that 20% left to actually purchase that equipment. And I believe these equipment we are talking about here are very expensive when being rented. Same way we can maintain them and rent them out to people. If the SRC is to own a sound system, which we will rent out to people for 1,500 cedis, I believe the SRC can make money. Because, for instance, if an outside event organizer wants to organize an event and they would be using our premises or our lecture halls or our auditoriums, then the offer comes, where do they get sounds from? You can tell them, ask us the SRC, we own sound systems, and we would encourage you to rent them from us. Exactly. And also cameras as well. Camera rentals is also one big avenue to gain funds. So I believe these two equipments, when we find our way, fund them through sponsorships and our own monies as well, it would look like an investment. Because again, we will gain from the rentals and we will save more money and not go rent anymore. Yes. So I believe this is a policy that can be worked out, and I believe maybe it may not be possible in just a year, but then if we set our standards high, if we set our minds to it that we want to achieve this policy, we'll be able to actually achieve this policy.
Now, we've had, over the years, we've had aspiring candidates. Now, you're not an aspiring candidate because you've gone through vetting, so you're officially a candidate.
Yes.
We've had candidates say flowery things. When I come into power, I'll do this, I'll do that, I'll do that. But when they come into power, they are different things altogether. They either implement, like you have 5 policies, they either implement 1 or 2 and leave the rest, or they do something contrary to what they say. Are you going to, first of all, do you think that your policies are over ambitious?
No.
As in, they are not going to be attainable, or they are attainable? And then second of all, how do you intend to run these 5 policies? Because looking at the policies, they all carry weight. For instance, this purchasing of equipment, you don't see yourself doing all of that in a year. So it's going to be kind of like a legacy project.
Exactly.
How do you intend to man all these things?
Yes. So I believe over the years we've had candidates that have promised and not fulfilled. But then this time around, I'm saying these 5 policies I've put out here, which I have more policies, but I decided to focus on these 5. These 5 policies that I've put out to my electorates, I believe are very attainable. And I believe it doesn't look like I'm building castles in the air, because looking at these 5 policies, they are policies that, with effort and with inclusivity from the student body and having a good team, I can achieve them. The first one, for instance, having diverse events is a very realistic thing. I believe events, funds are allocated for events. So in this case, I'm just saying, we wouldn't let these events still look like
one way.
yeah, we'll not let it play the norm whereby from 3 years ago our SRC week has been this way. We've had the health work, this. We want to change things. We want to make sure that the events are diverse. So this time around, if it is an event that we've had over the years that students think this event is not really entertaining enough or not relevant enough, we believe they have the right to speak. So we upholding students' interest are supposed to give them a diversity, whereby we give them things that will pique their interest. So for instance, someone may not like entertainment, but is more of a book person. So this person should have enough events that would suit their interest, that they'll be able to learn from, that they'll feel entertained by.
Right.
Yes. So that's for the first policy. I believe having a good team, that policy will be very attainable. Yes. And secondly, with the sponsorship subcommittee, which is one of the main policies, I believe if a sponsorship subcommittee is set out, the team has to be educated.
Right.
So one thing I would make sure is that team, upon me setting up my organizing and planning committee, would start working from go. They start working. So, and that team too would be educated by resource personnel. So have people come in, talk to them about how you go about securing a sponsorship. Because I believe I can't just camp a group of students and then just give them the role of being the sponsorship committee, whereby they don't know where to go or how to even draft a sponsorship letter. So I'll make sure there are enough resource personnel. We'll have meetings whereby we have resource personnel speak to them and teach them this and this and this is the way you go about it to secure a sponsorship. Yes. And also, like I said in my fourth policy, inclusivity and accessibility. With this, we are looking at calling in all students who have relevant knowledge on aspects of our events. So if it is about sponsorships and a student out there believes a sponsorship, they know, they have knowledge about sponsorship, they'll be invited to come join us. Give us the links to the brands you know. Give us accessibility to the brands you know. Let us sell our school to them. Let us tell them what they can get in return if they have a deal with us. And then we will move on from that.
Right.
And then lastly, about the equipment. Like I said, funding is the base of this whole policy. So the policy needs to be funded. And then I'm saying, if my sponsorship committee works well, they work diligently, they execute their duties, we would have enough funds to run our events and even have more to purchase a sound system. Yes, thank you.
Now, this year's election has particularly raised a lot of conversations, especially among the level 100s. This is because of the decision to go for an online voting. First of all, I want to pick your thoughts on the online voting process. What's the general assertion of the process?
Okay, so I am one person who haven't really liked the idea of an online voting, because I believe school is a learning curve. We are supposed to come here and learn new stuff. And I believe there are people on this campus, even my colleagues, 300 students, who have never experienced the face-to-face elections. And we know people come into the university when maybe they are a little of age, like 18, 19, and some of them haven't actually had the experience of a real voting on the national level. So I believe the school should be the learning curve, whereby they actually have the opportunity to exercise their franchise in person. So they know this is what you do when you are voting. You don't even wear a candidate's branded attire to a voting ground. Yes. So I think there's a lot to learn in elections being held. If an election is organized, there's a lot a person can learn from it. So I believe the online is, again, a restriction for us not to learn when it comes to voting processes and experiences in voting. If I am to just log on to a Google Forms and just verify my identity with a student ID and just click, which I always do. Click, enter WhatsApp pages, click, enter someone's chat. I believe it's still a repetition. And then the person wouldn't feel they've properly exercised their franchise. So, me for one, I really wanted an in-person voting, because I believe people will be sure of their votes, because in that case we'll be counting the votes like the normal processes of an election. So it will give people the trust. People will feel like this is indeed transparent. But then for the online, it turns out that's where we've got into it. So we just have to accept it as it is. Right. But me, for one, I was really yearning for an in-person voting, whereby we can all trust in the system and believe that our franchise is accurate and the number of votes we give out to a particular candidate is the accurate number.
You've spoken so much about trust. I tend to pick from your thoughts that the online voting is not going to be trust. That's extremely credible. How do you intend to verify the results of the election?
Okay, so like I said earlier, I would like to commend the EC for the job they've done this far. And I believe, looking at their activities so far, I believe they are operating in a very good faith. And then, me for one, paid for filing fee because I believe the EC can diligently execute their duties. So I wouldn't say I have trust issues with the elections, but though it is online, and you would agree with me, in person is more transparent, more trusted.
It gives you the experience.
Exactly. Because you know the number of people that came in, we can clearly see, and we would have to count in person. But then when it comes to the online, it's a system. And so, me per se, I wouldn't say I have trust issues with the voting process we've started. But then I'll just say the EC has done a good job this far, and I trust in them that they'll diligently execute their duties, and the person the electorates vote for would actually come out victorious.
Right. Now, we know you're not officially clear to start campaigning until the EC lifts the ban on the campaign. But I want you to look into that camera and tell the student body from level 100 to level 400, both weekend, regular, top up, whatever it is. I want you to give them a reason to vote for you. Why should they look at Dawntee for the organizing secretary position?
Okay, so sorry to catch you, but ban has been lifted off campaign.
Right.
So candidates are free to campaign. So in the processes, when the EC announces the vetting results, 12 a.m. midnight, from thereof, candidates are free to campaign. Okay. So campaigning has begun. A candidate is free to campaign to ask for votes.
Thank you for the correction.
Yes, thank you. So my fellow students across all levels, again, my name is Stephen Akpo, popularly known as Dawntee, a level 300 student studying journalism. Tonight, I come to you to ask for your votes. I'm saying if you vote Dawntee into power, you have better experiences with events. And also, I'm saying that if you give me the mandate to take charge of the organizing secretary office, you will experience events on a better level, whereby there will be enough funds for you to explore all the options available in events. So I would say I'm one experienced person who have gathered experience in events over the years. So I would say I am your best choice. Be a new Donite and go in for Dawntee. Thank you.
Be a new donor. I guess fans of Dawntee are Donites.
Yes, new Donites.
New Donites. All right, interesting. Thank you so much, Stephen Akpo. Stephen Akpo is an aspiring SRC organizing secretary here in Ghana Institute of Journalism. This has been the Candidate Pulse, and thank you so much for tuning in. To the production team, thank you so much, Dawntee. I don't know why I keep saying Dawntee. Stephen Akpo, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
We know this wasn't part of your schedule.
Yes.
but you made
Yes.
time. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having.
Thank you. This has been the Candidate Pulse. My name is Augustine Adam Kobe Saint. This show is brought to you by Info Online with partnership from GIJ headquarters. Till we come again with another candidate. Be good.